Councillor Stewart, Councillor Melo?
I don't have a report at all, but just talking about the federal election results there, I look at us having two MPs in our municipality. I think that's a good opportunity. We have,
Oh, with,
we have
MPs to do?
Liberal over on, from the other side of the Fraser River and Conservatives on this side. And I actually think it's interesting that in our small community of 6,000 people, we had two MPs to represent us.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Councillor?
I just have a couple comments. Chuck Scott from the Segway Tours, he was here a couple weeks ago. We were supposed to make a decision sometime this week, to write him a letter of support, if we were gonna give him a letter of support. The last council, we said we were gonna give him two weeks to think about it. And, that's one thing. Another thing is, I planned on meeting, Wolf from the guy that's doing the tie grinding down in New West or
Richmond.
Richmond. Yeah, I was gonna meet him today. He's gonna go down and look at look at his processing plant and talk to him regarding what's happening down there, cause he is planning on moving to here. And I've heard so many comments, good, bad, you know, we're not having him. So I wanted to go see him, but he canceled the day because his daughter was in the hospital dying of cancer. So, very, very sick. And so I'm gonna make a trip down as soon as I can get some opportunity to go down and see the facility, talk to him, so I get a clear picture of what's actually happening, I can report back to council.
I think to make the trip meaningful, we should probably organize a trip for all of council and staff.
Wouldn't hurt.
We have, and Mr. Young from the chamber was very good at passing on my contact information to the gentleman. I have not heard from him. CN has not been very forthcoming with info, so I'm certainly in favor of a meeting, but I
Well,
think,
that's why I thought I'd go down and just.
well, I think we
look
should do it as a
first.
team, because then we don't, you know, we might as well just do it as a group. I mean, you can certainly do it on your own time as well, obviously, but it would be nice if we do it as a united front, and then we can have 7, 8 open lines there.
Great, that's all I have.
Sounds good.
Sorry,
Yeah.
just while it's hot, I have received the draft letter today, as a matter of fact, from the gentleman regarding segways, they're still making vehicles.
Okay.
So, I'll move forward as soon as possible, so there will be something at the next council meeting, I only got it today.
Thanks.
Okay, sounds good.
Might be business for both.
Yeah, absolutely. It's kind of a ride-on kind of business. Sorry,
What kind of path are you
that was
on?
a cheese ball. Okay, Councilor Crowe?
Okay, so thank you, just a couple of few comments here, I guess, the rat thing. I've had 3 in my garage in the last 4 months, so that's a lot, I think, too many. And I know that,
13.
pardon?
I killed 13.
Yeah, I mean,
Sorry.
it's not something that people really know where to go to report. So it's not something that they're gonna inundate the district hall with, clearly. So I believe that I've asked about this 2 or 3 times, and Mr. Fordlowski, you were going to get back to me on that at some point. And so maybe, you know, maybe it's something worth looking into. It certainly is significant if they're eating their way through buildings and things like that, not something we really want. And so I would like to see, something in terms of figuring out where we are at. If it is a problem in the community, let's go down it now, let's not wait till it's an epidemic. So, and apparently they do have a prolific life cycle, so we should get on that. So if you wanna have a look into it, I'd be more than happy to, make that a motion if I need to, or if you have time to.
What's the intent of your motion?
Well, it would really be to have staff, look into, the state of affairs with our vermin in our community. I don't know how, I'm not a rat person, but somebody must know.
So, we had a big garden this year at our place, and we had to set traps in our strawberries. And I think we got 13 or 14 in our strawberries, so they're out there.
I think if you talk to Rona that sells traps, I'll tell you the sales are up.
Yeah, they're out, they're sold out.
I don't know how to deal with it.
You Your worship, respectfully, if the impression and the reality is indeed that they're up and they're not reporting, which is very valid, comment made by Councilor Crop. I think maybe the way ahead is for us to make a recommendation as to what possibly could be done, as opposed to determining if we have a problem or not, because that will always be relative anyway. Let me do some investigation as a possibility, and I'll report back to council, and then we can develop, I can seek your further direction as far as devoting significant staff time and resources in order to do so.
I'm happy with that, that's
Yeah.
fine, thank you. So, thank you for that, Mr. Fordowski. One other issue, I don't know if it's an issue, it's concern that, a couple of people were on their scooters, seniors in our community. They went out to the Rotary View Deck, and it was bouncing quite badly, and they were concerned, they didn't know if that was normal or not. In fact, they quickly turned around and got off of there. So just a check, maybe, I don't know why it was bouncing, it's
That's
cement,
I
so,
don't know how that could go.
exactly, so that was a concern.
So, could you repeat exactly where again?
The Rotary View Deck,
Ah,
yeah,
I think it was bouncing in an earthquake, because that's,
yeah, we did do some work there, wasn't it in May, April or May, was it this year we did some work there to stabilize
Rotary
it?
did some.
Rotary did work, but we didn't, or they did not, change the flooring on the deck.
No,
We put in a new picnic table, we've improved the grass area.
and I'm thinking of the supports
I
underneath.
will, however,
so-
investigate
Yeah.
this. Your
Yeah.
worship.
Oh, yeah, that's the other footing, so maybe just a check on that, please, it's worth looking at anyhow for the time it takes. And then, yeah, I just also send out my condolences to the Demilders, and I do have a card and we'll go there, but unfortunately, my husband was ill on Saturday and we didn't go anywhere, so, but that's about it.
Thank you. Appreciate it. I guess we're moving on to item 8, permits and bylaws, fees and charges, bylaw 1353. The one thing I would like to, before we have discussion on this, I'd like to respectfully add in there, if it's the agreement of council, or just add for discussion at this point, I guess. In our previous committee of the whole, we had discussion about folks putting their garbage out maximum the night before. Now, obviously, there are some people who work evenings who will probably miss the garbage pickup. We're talking about vermin in the community, that obviously there's an upswing in that problem. What I would respectfully suggest to council and staff is that we either do away with the minimum dump fee of $10 or lower it significantly, because I think the problem that occurs quite regularly is that people will miss a garbage pickup. And rather than spend $10 for a light bag of garbage, I'll just say to heck with it, we'll leave it in the garbage can for a week or what have you, or until they can, might even be 2 weeks, whatever. And then, of course, then we track rodents. So I think a small part of the puzzle might be to just say to heck with the minimum dump fee, people just pay for the weight. I think that's what it should be anyways, but that's personal opinion. And then, hopefully that will help a little bit. And then the other thing under fees and charges, which council had some discussion on, which maybe we can get Mr. Podolsky to speak to, is the out-of-region dump surcharge. And I think if it's not being enforced, get rid of it. The bottom line is, having a significant out-of-region dump fee in our fees and charges bylaw will just encourage people to dump their garbage up roads and so on and so forth. If it is enforced, and if there is an appetite for the council and staff to leave it in there, maybe we can keep it at a very minimal level, say $5 a load or $10 a load, not $75 a load. Mr. Podolsky?
Yes, your worship, earlier the council had talked about things like the mattress fee as well.
Yeah.
The mattress fee, in fact, has been reduced to $10 a mattress. Regardless, the fees and charges bylaw is as per, and if we,
So we can put that on the bed then.
that's right. If we include the discussion, and we need to discuss this with the contractor, a reduction in the regional surcharge, which they admit they're willing to reduce, and right now they do not enforce. However, if it looks like, for example, there are a lot of mattresses now coming from out of area, I mean, potentially there could be some revenue, albeit, slight, but enough to generate some revenue, because these fees are the only revenue the contractor gets. And I will move ahead and I will discuss the $10 minimum cost per collection. Just to be clear, is it your intent that this be waived if someone misses the collection?
No,
Or just waived, period?
Just waive period, because, you have someone that comes forward with like a bag of garbage in their trunk, thing weighs about 2 pounds, and they're paying $10 for a bag of garbage, which seems a little bit counterproductive if you wanna clean up their community. Yeah.
Don't know where to go. Okay. We're at the point of adoption here, and there normally is no discussion of adoption, but since we haven't had a motion yet, I'll just throw my 2 cents in. In the past, I've asked for some sort of statistic for fees. How often they pay the minimum fee versus the amount of weight that they're dumping. I'm not sure the current collector can give us that information, but that might give us an idea as to what that minimum fee should be, or needs to be, if it even needs to be. But I don't know if that's something you can ask them to provide. But I don't know if this update now is the time to start adding those things, or if we should move forward with these, because we do need to have some things changed now, and those other things can be adopted later. So I'd like to move adoption of the bylaw.
If you make further changes tonight, we have to repeal 3 readings, give new 3 readings as amended, and then it's delayed for adoption.
And your worship, we recognize the staff that you adopt it as is, because the risk to the public is minimum, in that there's a lower fee being charged for mattresses now, and the resulting discussions will likely result in lower fees being paid to the public later, which will be resolved by future council resolution as we finalize these issues, so that we know increase clearly to the public as a result of your adopting the fees and charges by law now.
No, I get the point, but to me, the natural combination is we're insisting that people have a maximum. They can put the garbage out the evening before. That's the maximum window of opportunity they have to put the garbage out, not a day before, like not 24 hours or what have you, not the evening before. So my point is, we have a significant rodent problem, which has been discussed. Just waiving the minimum fee would probably delay this bylaw 2 weeks, correct? Well, it's essentially 4, because we have to repeal it tonight,
You can repeal it tonight and give 3 readings as amended.
so it'll be a 2-week delay essentially.
Yeah.
4. No, 2, because we can repeal it, we can repeal it,
Repeal tonight and give 3
Three readings, and then-
as amended.
so 2-week
And then it
delay.
would be the next meeting you can adopt it.
You could, your worship, but I would suggest respectfully that we consult with the contractor whose revenue is generated by council-directed fees. And I think it would be in good faith to have that discussion with them as a good measure. So if I can ask the
Okay.
corporate services director, is that acceptable delay in this process? 1 month, or is that unacceptable from a regulatory standpoint?
We need it adopted before the end of the year, because in the original bylaw, in solid waste collection, we had a 2015 rate that we never imposed upon residents. So we wanna make sure that the bylaw is showing just the annual rate that we're charging before the end of the year.
Yeah.
I believe that is doable then, if we delay that, as you had,
It's just an idea, I mean, I might be the only person that thinks that's a good idea.
so we would, in essence, you could repeal it tonight, 3 readings as amended on what today is, the 23rd. We only have 1 meeting in December, we would need a special council meeting.
Well, no.
Oh, this is October, no, yes, so, that's correct, 3 readings on the,
First meeting in November.
on the 9th, and then we could have it adopted on the 23rd.
But bear in mind, if you want, I don't know if there's other changes you guys were looking at, wanting to look at as well in other categories. If this bylaw's adopted tonight, we can still do amendments, do an amendment bylaw shortly thereafter.
Well, we can do that then, but I think it should be a priority.
That's my comment, we can adopt things currently as they stand right now, as we've already had 3 readings. And then further amendments can always be brought forward in the same time frame. So to move forward with the important things that we needed to have done by the end of this year, I think, yeah, my motion is to
Okay,
adopt this.
second
Yeah,
adoption.
moved and seconded, okay. And with the understanding that we'd have a report back from you, Mr.
Yes,
Football,
at the next council meeting.
regarding the out-of-district fees.
And the $10 minimum.
Okay, good. And the implications on the contract. Okay, motion's on the table. All those in favor? Contrary? Motion carries. Thank you. Now, item B, I had a very interesting visit with Mr. Forlowski and Ms. Bellingham during the agenda-setting meeting on this intermunicipal business license bylaw. And I'd like to call upon either Mr. Forlowski or Ms. Bellingham to give a little history on this, because it's actually quite an exciting initiative. It's really good for local business and those coming in, so the floor is yours. Whoever would like to fight for it.
You
Well,
did
back
report.
in 2012, we engaged 8 other communities in a pilot project to introduce intermunicipal business licenses. So if the business was based out of Hope, they would get an intermunicipal business license, so that they're buying one license but enabling them to do business in those other communities, as opposed to buying an individual business license for each individual community that they visit. It's proved to be successful. Initially, it wasn't financially viable necessarily with their formula for the District of Hope, but to keep everybody in it and accommodating, we've got a wonderful revenue sharing of 90-10. So we retain 90% of the business licensing, and then we share out the 10% amongst all parties involved. So currently, we're moving it out of a pilot project to make it an actual Fraser Valley intermunicipal business license program, with the inclusion of 2 more municipalities. And on the fence right now, for a later date, the Village of Harrison Hot Springs and the City of White Rock are also considering the program. So that would then encompass everybody from the bridge out. So it's a great economic opportunity, I think, for businesses to locate wherever they want, knowing they can freely do business wherever. And it's proved very, we only sell 2, but you know, it proves to attract business to come to here and relocate here as well.
I'll move 3 readings.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded, okay. Discussion, Mr. Forlowski, other points on that?
Quick point, I was initially involved in this, I was here at the time, but just a reminder for the public and for the mayor council, the idea of the formula, the cost-sharing formula for this, is that there is no net loss to any participating municipality. So currently, we're making a very small increase of what we were making before, but again, we're enabling our business people here greater breadth and scope for economic well-being by being able to do business.
Councilor Midland?
Yeah, my only question is, do each of the municipalities involved have to make a similar motion to take it out of a pilot project to a more permanent thing?
We all need to get this bylaw, we're all making the same bylaw, we need to have it in place before the end.
So
of
clearly,
this
we're all on the
calendar
same page there.
year.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I know we've had some, the regional district just came up as sort of a random discussion point. And everyone seems pretty excited about this coming into play, so. That's good. Councilor Craft?
And just a little bit of history, in 2009, when we were in the Kentucky museum, that was a big discussion, it was a big highlight, it was something that was very much a pilot thought, not even a. So it's really great to see it come to fruition, and it also gets other business people into compliance in all areas. And only thing I was wondering was, is there going to be a decal that they can put in their vehicle or something like that? Is that an option? Is that something they can do so that when they go to the other municipalities that are involved, that it's clear that they are part of the program?
I think that right now they just have to pay for, so that could be a point that I could bring up at one of the next discussions.
And not only that, it can showcase the logo for each community that's involved.
Now, bear in mind, this isn't for every type of business.
No, I
It's
know.
limited to a select group of businesses, but privilege would be very beneficial for sure.
Okay. All those in favor? eight C, report from our esteemed Director of Community Development, Mr. Gill, pertaining to Hope Intensive Residential Development Permit on 21125 Kettle Valley Road, Echo Developments. Mr. Ron Marks here tonight.
Mayor, I'd like to excuse myself for a potential conflict of interest. The development of this project, and my husband being in real estate, to benefit from this potential project, so I'm gonna have to excuse
Okay.
myself.
Wise choice, thank you. Okay, so I'll just quickly read out the suggested motion and then we can get Mr. Gill to speak to it. Recommended motion is that an intensive residential development permit be prepared for the property legally described at 21125 Kettle Valley Road for the development of a RS1 single-family subdivision, and further that the Director of Community Development be authorized to approve minor changes to the development permit, and further that the Director of Community Development be authorized to endorse the development permit and associated documents. Let's put a motion on the table and then we can have Mr. Gill speak to it.
Second?
Thank you. Councillor Erickson moving, Councillor Crop seconding. Mr. Gill.
Your worship, through you, honorable council, the purpose of this application is to obtain council authorization for the Hope Intensive Residential Development Permit for form and character for a 13-lot subdivision. Council should note that the requirements for the Hope Intensive Residential Permit comes into play when you introduce 11 or more lots or units. With the proposed, perceptually, there will be a change to the existing site. However, the intent of the proposed development is to meet the established character regime in the area, complementing the existing land use pattern. If there are any questions regarding the proposed development application, if it pleases council, the applicant is present to provide any clarity in the matter.
Yeah,
Thank
Councillor
you,
Crop.
thank you, through you. Just a question, what water system will this development be hooked up to?
Your worship, through you, it would be the District of Hope water system.
That was a 7-5 question. I think Mr. Ronmark is a pretty astute business person. He probably would probably did the 7-5 system.
It
Not
begged
a
to be
selling
asked,
feature.
sorry.
Not a selling feature. Mr. Ronmark, so we don't overlook you, do you have anything you'd like to add to this?
No,
You don't have to say anything, but it's just, if you'd like
I'm
to.
just here to answer any questions that council may have.
Okay,
Oh, okay, I did have a question.
okay, Councillor Crop, you have a
So,
question?
so thank you, so would this be, with the new zoning or this particular zoning, is that for single-family dwellings?
Your worship, through you, yes, it would be, and so there would be 13 units would be proposed for this, as per a density number.
Okay, I see, so that's excellent, okay, thank you, good.
None of us are superstitious, 13's not a bad thing. Okay, motions on the table, additional council discussions?
Quick question.
Councillor Gill?
Is this council's only opportunity to have any input towards or questions about the form and character and the colors and textures and things like that?
Your worship, through you, Councilor Madlock, that is correct.
Okay.
Okay,
I'll make that one.
sounds very good. All those in favor? Contrary? Motion carries. All the best to Mr. Ronmark and my partners on a successful project.
Thank you.
Let's get.
More taxpayers in America.
Let's get Counselor back.
More parcel taxes, right on.
Bring her back. Yes.
Okay, item 9A. Correspondence there. Motion to receive perhaps?
So moved.
Councilor Crowe, Councilor Erickson. All those in favor? Okay, carries. Now we have correspondence here. Grant need funding report to the, that's good that we got that. I guess it's good to get it, but it's also compulsory.
Yes, no, Your Worship, one comment, the District Arts Council submitted this one now, actually it was previously submitted, but their financial year goes December, or January to December. So naturally, it makes best sense for them to report out. So they'll have another one out January, February for 2015. We haven't confirmed yet with the other organizations what their fiscal year is, so we will have those reports to you.
Okay, question from Councilor Miller?
Thank you. I think it's great that this is in here, the letter that you sent them, Podolsky was dated October 14th, so we obviously got a very quick response. I just wanted to make the point too, that I think the whole purpose of the report back was so we could consider things for future year's budgeting process. So typically, February is good. You don't have things completed by then. But I was wondering if it's possible to request the same document for the 2015 year end before we complete our budgeting process, so that we can consider it the most recent, help considered in the most recent or soon-to-be budget year.
Your Worship, I will work with them, considering the way we want to.
And that's for every line item, like care transit as well, and the others, right?
Yeah.
I'm trying to signal into you.
Background
Yeah.
information.
Motion
Just
received.
the most relevant information possible, I guess, is what.
Yeah, well point. Motion received. Thank you, Councilor Donovan. Seconded. Councilor Erickson, second. All those in favor? Councilor Erickson, motion carries. Question period from the public, items relevant to the agenda?
Yeah, but May, Your Worship,
Yes.
on this rat issue, you know, rats just love old vehicles, old boats, dilapidated buildings, and we seem to have an increasingly number of residential properties that have an excessive amount of old derelict vehicles, and they just love that. That's an environment just encouraging rat explosion. Go over to Gardner's used car lot, you want to count rats. They love that. They love just, that's their house. They love an old car to chew to the antifreeze and the old hoses and that. And that's what one of the things that are contributing to the rat infestation in this community.
Sadly, they like new stuff too.
They only like the antifreeze once, so just, I'm correct though, it does attract them.
Just a little bit of information.
Yeah, no, fair enough, Mr. Rogers, appreciate it. Mr. Young,
Okay,
esteemed president.
from a business that fighting with pest control on a daily basis, maybe I can offer one or two feedback about the rat issues in Hope. So I think one of the challenge for the business in Hope, especially the restaurant sector, is because our pickup are limited twice a week. So, for example, for us it's only Monday and Thursday. So if your bin is full, you call first class because we are dictated by one supplier in Hope. You basically you trap. So there are times that miscommunications happen. Everyone make mistake. Maybe my staff don't call them on time, or if first class forgot about the pickup. But basically, if you miss your Monday window, then you have to wait until Thursday. So I have a compactor. I'm fortunate, but that means compactor will still getting full. But for business that don't have a compactor, that means they have to start piling things. That's why when you go around Hope in summertime, you can see some of the dumpsters in really bad shape. Because when you were really busy, then you don't have that regular pickup, or you miss a regular pickup, then basically the business trap. Your back alley will have overfilled dumpster. So I think that's one of the challenge, and that's one thing that we have been talking in the chamber for a long time. Can we open the window of having certain business opt out from using the service that the district dictated us to use, so that we can create a little bit flexibility for the business? Because eventually, if it's only Monday and Thursday, for some businesses, it's just not doing the justice. Like for my case, if I don't have a compactor, before we have a compactor, we need 2 fit bins, and we need to pick up 4 times a week. So right now we have one compactor, so we minimized it. But it's because McDonald's, we have that capacity to purchase a compactor to resolve the issue like this. But for small business, they trap. So at the end, the rat situation then, it start to become an issue, especially downtown core, because you have businesses, like they have food residue, and it's very easy to attract rats and all that. So I think that
A very good point, Mr. Young, and maybe we can get Mr. Portalowski to have a friendly chinwag with First Class and see what kind of changes can be made to the schedule.
yeah, and the other point that I want to make is because the removal fees of Hope is very ungenerous from a business point of view. And I remember when I had 11 gas stations back in the days when I was in North Mainland, the removal fees of 11 gas stations is not equal to 1 month in Hope. What McDonald's in Hope. So we're paying some very high fees in Hope, and I think when business get to the point that I have to control my expenses, then to call extra pickup over the summertime might be a challenging things for a business. So that is my point about the rat, and to tap on the solid waste removal too. Maybe bring in the competitions, maybe even an other transfer station early, being talked about earlier is a good idea, because we can have some competitions in the community about waste removal, or citizens of Hope can have different solutions on deal with the issues. Yeah, so that's just my opinion. So.
Very valid points.
Yep.
Competition's good.
Well, I guess we'll look forward to seeing everyone at the November 9th meeting. Coming up soon.
Just want to comment too, I do a lot of walking, and the amount of garbage I've seen that people just drive by and toss out is unbelievable. There's a lot of garbage out there that people are just tossing out because they either miss their garbage pickups or they don't want to pay that fee. And it's making an ugly mess out there. A lot of
So I'll
stuff.
give you a bigger bag when you're walking.
I know.
I said I was a grocery bag.
I do pick up the stuff, but hey.
Yes, you will pick it up.
Definitely waive the minimum dump fee. Cleaning up the town.
Yes, by the way, I am looking for a job.
I just wanted to add my comment about rats. You know, we've lived across the street for just about 60 years. Never had a rat problem until this last year. It just makes me sick when I see them running in front of me. And I know where they're coming from. It's not necessarily our house, but the dump next door. And, you know, we can talk about it, but what are we gonna do about it?
Clean up the properties.
Yeah.
Pure and simple.
I also know that down by the United Church, here on Third Avenue, a resident down there had rats in their garage and they gassed them. And we had 3 rats suddenly in the backyard, and one of them was pregnant. And I know that they have 6 to 8 babies in a matter of 3 weeks. And they can drown